What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Box Out Boys podcast. We are the NBA podcast of the people, your home for lukewarm takes and substandard analysis. I'm Titus Two Shots Dominguez, and joining me tonight, it's Chris Statsman Gorman. With the stats, Chris.
Hey. All right, I got a stat, guys. In terms of team stats for this season so far, the Bulls are 29th out of 30 in bench points per game at 26.8.
Wow.
And ironically, the New York Knickerbockers are first at 39.6, tied with the Spurs. It doesn't mean you need it, but,
That feels a little
just something
pointed to a discussion
out.
that was had on the group chat earlier this week and a discussion that will be had later on the podcast. But you know what will not be happening tonight is any lawn care at all. We will not be putting down any seed, any weed guard, any of that. The lawn boss is not here. He is celebrating the holidays with some coworkers. Congratulations to him on that, I guess.
In Hub Group. Shout out Hub Group.
Baby. Making it sound as delicious as Dove. To the left, to the right, and dead center. It's Adam, the professional Bruns. How the levels tonight, Adam?
They are sounding absolutely fantastically magical.
They sound great.
Wow.
Always.
Well, we have a fun show planned for you guys tonight. We're going to be loose because Joey, the boss, is not here, so it's going to be fun. We're going to go around the league a little bit differently than we've been doing. I know we've been doing a kind of game talk, but this week we've got about a little over a quarter of the way into the season. And I think it's time that we can finally really start talking about tiers. If you're watching us live on YouTube or Twitch, you can see Chris's tier bracket thing that we got going here. We're going to fill this in. And so let's go ahead and get started. Chris, I think we had talked about we want to start at the bottom, right?
We're going to start from the bottom, and then we'll get
work
here.
way to top? Or do you want to go? Oh, yeah, well, let's go bottom tier teams.
Sorry, I was trying to do a start from the bottom. Now we're here, but that didn't work. I thought we'd just go west to east. Right?
West to east?
Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, we can start with the conferences. I think we can. You want to start in the West?
Let's start in the West. The bad team in the West.
All right. I'm gonna give you the bottom tier teams.
Let's
in
just
the
go by
West.
standings in the West first.
Well, hold on. I got.
Tice, I want you to lead. Here, I'll start with the first team. You got the tiers, and I got the first team. Let's start off with the New Orleans Pelicans with their 330-pound fat man in Zion, who cannot physically play basketball right now. If you read the headlines this week, we have them ranked, Titus Dominguez.
So I have them second from the bottom. So I'll quickly go through my bottom teams. This is kind of the bottom tier of the Western Conference. I have at the top of the bottom tier the Blazers. Then I have the Spurs. Then I have the Kings, the Thunder, the Pelicans, and the Rockets. How do you feel about that bottom tier? There you go. Put them up there. So if you're listening to the podcast.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do it this way.
Yeah.
Wait, you're calling all these teams straight trash?
Straight trash. So yeah, let me give the tiers that we have.
Just
we have
for the listeners.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll go for so it's straight trash is about our bottom tier. Then we have good teams, in quotes, good teams. So these are the better teams in the conference. Then we have the contenders. And these are teams we think are really good. They're contending, but they are not title contenders. And that is the final tier. The top tier of the NBA is title contenders. So right now, these are teams in the West that I feel are straight trash. Portland, the Spurs, Kings, Thunder, Pelicans, and Rockets. Chris, any of those teams that you disagree with? I think he's lagging there for a minute for us.
Portland, Kings, Pelicans, Rockets, Spurs. Sorry, the Fire.
Oh boy.
Oh man. Portland, Spurs, Kings, Pelicans, Rockets.
Thunder. That's the other team I have on.
Can you guys hear me okay?
You're lagging.
Yeah, you're just lagging.
Yeah. I don't know if you gotta.
Can you guys hear me okay? Shoot.
You're coming through a little bit. You might have to close the window.
Oh, man.
Let's see here. Hold on.
He's catching
I don't know
up.
if I'm gonna go here.
Yeah, I think you might have to close your window there. Sorry, everyone joining us live. This won't be in the podcast, but
I don't know. I might put it in there.
Might
No.
put it in.
Here, I close. Well, so I'm sharing my
There.
screen.
There you go. Now
Is
you're
that
good.
better?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
you're,
good.
you're in sync.
All right. Can we just pick it up from here and like cut that? Maybe I don't know, or just
I'll,
leave
yeah,
it all
yeah,
the
hold
same?
on,
I'll make it work.
Who
All right, so-
cares?
It'll
All right,
sound natural.
Titus. So you said Portland, Spurs, Kings, Pelicans, Rockets, straight trash in the West,
And the Thunder.
and of course the Thunder.
And
They
the Thunder.
lost
Of
by
course, the
73
Thunder.
points the other night.
So, do you
I
Do you
can't-
disagree on any of those teams?
Portland, if you told me if we did this 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, they're a good team, right?
Yeah.
Portland's not that bad, right? I think I'm McCollum, who's now has a collapsed lung.
Yep.
You know,
Unfortunately for
hopefully
him.
he's okay.
Yeah, prayers up.
Damian Lillard, who may or may not want out every day. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Neil
something's going on.
O'Shea,
What,
who was
Simmons?
the general manager there for 10 seasons,
Fired.
is no longer there for toxic, awful reasons. Good riddance. Yeah, they're trash.
Or
you
trash.
know,
So
the Spurs is weird. If we had
go ahead.
if we had a fifth tier, the Spurs would be in the fourth column, in my opinion. But other than that, this is all the same. Really, at the end of the day, I don't need to split hairs. These are all trash teams. We don't really need to talk about these guys too long. The
Yeah,
Titus
and
David
I think-
methodology.
All right.
Yeah.
Any methodology to it, it's just teams that I don't think you have to pay attention to the rest of the season. With the one exception might be Portland there because they might make some moves and they could be interesting. But for the most part, they're teams that I don't think you have to worry about. You can stop watching them. You can, check out, watch other teams play.
Yeah. Jonas
Other
Valanciunas, shout out the Pelicans. He's putting up threes, putting up shots. Yeah. You know what? Let's just Josh Giddey. I get Giddey for Josh Giddey. Lukens,
Giddey for Giddey.
Dort. I don't even know if I'm saying it's for Dort. And then Shea. They have a solid nucleus that they'll build off of the Thunder. They beat the Pistons the other night in
Definitely.
a game that they should technically, which is really interesting. So let's stop talking about them. Let's go to the East with your straight trash teams there.
All right.
What do you think if we do it that way?
Yeah, well, this is exactly how we should do it. We'll bounce back and forth the conferences. So, all right, the straight trash teams, the teams you don't need to pay attention to in the East are the Toronto Raptors, the Indiana Pacers, the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons. Garbage. Please do not waste your time watching these teams unless you want to watch what's his name? Why am I blanking on that guy from Detroit?
Sky
No, the rookie.
Cade
Cade
Cunningham. He's fine.
Cunningham.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to check him out, if you're a fan of this team, keep watching. But if not,
Big Stu. Okay. Big Stu. Now that I've learned the nickname Big Stu ever since he got punched by LeBron. Isaiah Stewart's a lot of fun to watch. That guy is electric, and I can't wait. I hope he has a long career in the league because he's just so much energy. He reminds me of Kenneth Reed. Kenneth Reed had a really short career, but I don't know, man. I like Stewart a lot. Raptors, Scotty Barnes is really showing everything that Patrick Williams could have been, and but isn't.
yeah,
That's the rest of the team is just kind of mediocre. And then the Pacers, Zach Lowe had a great thing with the Pacers where they are the most boring team in the league in terms of offensive and defensive efficiency. They're just not doing anything. They're just stuck in the middle like they have been for the last 5 seasons. So, we don't need to say
and they're blowing it up.
but yeah, that's what's going on there.
Yeah, they're blowing it
Yeah,
up. So
no,
we'll definitely talk about that.
Nothing here, man.
No arguments there.
We'll get to that. All right, let's go. Good teams, quote unquote, good teams in the West.
All right, we're gonna go to the good teams
Titus
in
Dominguez.
the West. Yeah, well, I might end up having you shut the window down. You're still lagging a little bit, but that's okay. We're working through it. Is you with us?
Here, I'll stop screen now. See if that
Let's
helps.
see if that.
That might help.
Yeah, that should help. All right, you a little better? Oh man, he's still kind of
Yeah.
glitching for us. Oh, there he's back. We
Yeah,
are
like
working
3
through
things
it.
open. That's it.
That's all right. He's like, please,
Um,
please help me. All right, so now
I'll-
we're ready
I'll-
for the good
we
teams.
can make this like an Instagram post afterwards for our tier list. All right, man.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Good
All right.
teams. Who you guys? Good teams.
Good teams in the West. In order, I have the Grizzlies at the top of the good teams list. Then I have the Nuggets. Then I have the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Timberwolves. So these teams are all good. They should all make the playoffs or play in tournament. And they're relatively fun to watch, especially the Grizzlies. What do you think about those teams in the Western Conference?
Yeah, the Grizzlies are a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, they beat the Thunder by 73 points the other night.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
The Timberwolves are the only team that's a compliment really here is Timberwolves and Grizzlies is like a compliment to be
Yeah.
considered a good team now. Timberwolves, this team is so up and down. They'll win 3 games, lose 4, win 5, lose 3. I don't know what's going to happen with this team. They're fine for now. I think Russell's out now. Pat Bev can't stay healthy, so we'll see. But I like this team. We'll continue to watch them just because they are good, quote unquote. The Nuggets, if Michael Porter Jr. didn't have his back injury that, and Jamal Murray was healthy, they wouldn't be considered a good team. They'd be a title contender, but they're a good team. Lakers. So this is why I have the 4th tier. The Lakers are a contender. I am not giving up on this team. They're at least a contender. I might move them up even further. I'm moving up to the contender ranking now. Only I can do this because I had to shut down my window because of my poor processing power on my laptop. The Lakers are at the very least. Oh my god, I'm not counting a team out with LeBron, and you're just giving up LeBron 24 games into the season like this. Like what?
Yes.
And the other thing is the Clippers. So the Clippers are 4-0. There's a stat going around this week. Clippers are 4-0. Or Ty Lue's 4-0 against LeBron. Clippers versus Lakers. So the Clippers, I can't say he's even a quote unquote good team. They're still considered a contender too, just because they got some fight in them. They're not a title contender. I think the Lakers are closer to that than the Clippers. Potential is, I don't know, man. What's your thoughts with the 2 LA teams being considered good and not great?
I can see, so when I originally made this list, I had 3 tiers. I can see the argument of contender for those guys, particularly the Lakers. The Clippers without Kawhi, I know they made the conference finals without Kawhi last year, but I still I have my doubts personally. The Lakers, man, I don't know if I'm ready to say this. I kind of think LeBron, like the LeBron era is over. And that's kind of my reasoning behind not putting them in that top tier of the Western Conference. I just don't think when it's all said and done in this Western Conference playoffs that they are really going to do anything of note. I think could they make a second round? Sure. But we'll get to the top contenders later. And if you're doing some quick math, you might know what teams are left. But the 2 or 3 teams that are above them in that top contender list for me, I think those are the 2 or 3 teams that are coming out of the West, and I don't think anybody else is going to do it this year.
I'm actually surprised you left Dallas off this good team list.
Oh, Dallas should be on there. Sorry, I must have missed them.
Okay. Let's just make sure Dallas is there. Yeah, they're a good team. Luka is a little admittedly to himself, a little overweight, and
out of condition.
That Nets game, which the Mavericks were in total control over like the entire time, kind of proved that out. I feel like Luka is just a little out of shape, and Durant Harden are veteran man that just know how to win games.
They're good players. If you're joining us in the stream too, by the way, if you have any thoughts on our tiers, go ahead and shout them out in the comments, man.
That's why I wanted to share it. But all right, anyways, what's your good in the East?
So good in the East, these are the good teams. Again, these all should be playoff teams. East is loaded with good teams. Top of the good team tier, I have the 76ers. These guys probably should be contenders, but without the Ben Simmons thing resolved, that's kind of why I'm knocking them down to the good teams. Maybe we can move them into that contender tier that you have.
Yep, I'll move them there. Yeah.
Move them there. I also have the Hornets second in this tier. Then I have the Hawks, Celtics, Wizards, Knicks, and Cavs. All those teams are really good. All those teams are fun to watch. All those teams should make the playoffs or be in contention for the playoffs. And just see how it shakes out this year. Any thoughts on those teams, Chris?
Hawks, Celtics. Who else?
Wizards, Knicks, Cavs.
Knicks and the Cavs. Yeah.
Cavs
Yeah,
got
no,
some
this
guys.
is it. Like, the thing is, okay, the Hawks, we said the Hawks were this last year, and then they almost made it to the finals, just racking it in. And all of a sudden, we're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, they're kind of just.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
you
they
look at the
haven't
record,
been.
they're ninth in the East right now.
Yeah, they haven't been playing great, and they've been kind of middling. I know they've been struggling a little bit. They've been kind of getting it together a little bit towards the more recent games, but I still think right now they're not quite the contenders they were. I don't think they were a contender last year. I think their run was more fluky than anybody's run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a guy not take a wide open layup and in a game 7. So
That's a good point. The problem with the Hawks, I'm looking at this team just high level. All right, they have almost said Thaddeus Young, seeing T Young here. Trey Young, 26 points, John Collins, 17. And then they got 5 guys averaging 10 or 11 points a game, and Bogdanovich, Reddish, Capella, Hunter, and Herter. The problem is one of those 5 guys, really one of those 4, not Capella, one of those 4, Bogdanovich, Reddish, Hunter, or Herter, are supposed to take a leap to average at least 15 points a game, at least 18, maybe even 20. And none of those guys are really taking that leap to get to that level. And that's what's I think was really holding this Hawks teams back. And until then, like I agree with your good teams, quote unquote, measurement for them. They're kind of in the Hornets area. The Hornets are just such a fun team with LaMelo and Terry Rozier and PJ Washington. Celtics,
I think
we don't want to talk about them.
So I think all these teams could get out of or could win a. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was thinking they could win a first round series, but I don't think they could.
No, I don't think any. No,
and I don't think any teams can win a first round series. But all these teams, with the exception of the Sixers, maybe with depending on what happens with Ben Simmons.
Sorry, I already put the Sixers in the contenders column. So yeah,
you moved them up, so they could go through. All right, well let's move on to the top tier. Go ahead.
And just to clear it up, the contenders list is only the Lakers, Clippers, and Sixers. So really, Ty, is your 3-tier recommendation? It's not that far off. It really is kind of.
I was close. No cigar. The 3 tiers is kind of limiting, but it's mostly because of these top teams. These are the teams I really wanted to talk about. I feel like these are the best teams in the league. These are the teams that I feel are the pool of teams that can make the conference finals, and then the pool of teams that could eventually make and win the NBA championship. In the Western Conference, number 1. Number 1 is the Warriors. I had the Suns last week, but I just noticed I put the Warriors number 1, and I think deservingly they beat the Suns.
After that Saturday game, yeah.
Yep. So Warriors number 1, Suns number 2, and the Jazz a distant third. Possibly you can knock them down to that contender realm, but I think those are the 3 teams that one of those 3 teams are winning the West, in my opinion, and I think 2 of those teams can win the title.
So one question with this: if the Lakers and the Jazz play each other in the second round of a playoff series, who do you think is going to win that series?
And everybody's healthy.
Yeah, it's definitely. Let's assume everyone's full strength, which never happens, of course, but for the sake of the argument.
See, now you might be right because I think the Lakers win that series.
So I'm not going to bump the Lakers up. I'm going to bump the Jazz down.
It's down. Yeah, I think that's a fair argument because I wasn't kind of thinking it in that sense of if the Lakers matched up with them in the second round, what would that look like? Yeah, I would not be thinking the Jazz could get it done at that point. I would be very much thinking that the Lakers would pull out that series, but I don't know. That's interesting. And your thoughts on those
6? The Warriors and the Suns are the top. The Warriors and the Suns are kind of it. It's kind of weird right now with the West. The West is so top heavy.
It's very top heavy. Like even those
That's why LeBron can come out of this so easily. It's so funny. He switched conferences and he's still in a top heavy conference.
Still a top. I really don't think that the Lakers are going to do anything. But that's just me watching them, and I don't know. It could be the Russ thing. It could be any number of things. But man, I'm very concerned about them. I don't think they're going to make any noise.
We're a third of the way into the season. I'm not. It's a lot, but like 2/3 away, then I'd be a little more concerned, I think.
And Russ is turning on. So yeah, maybe we come back after the second, third, like you're saying. If they're still in that 5th, 6th, 7th slot, I am not going to be counting them as a real contender. All right, moving into the East.
Okay.
I think that there's 4 teams. My number 1 team is Milwaukee. I think they're the runaway favorite in the East, even though they are not currently at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. Here's where it might get a little weird. My number 2 team is the Heat. I think they're banged up right now. I think they've been a little banged up this season, which is why their record is a little bit worse than it should be. And I think if everybody's healthy, I believe that they could get to the finals. They have with Jimmy Butler. Lowry's been to the finals. So it's a respect vote for them, having gotten there 2 years ago. That's why I have them in the second spot. My third spot goes to our Chicago Bulls. I feel like they are the third best team in the Eastern Conference. And then my fourth slot is the Nets.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. God. Oh, man.
Yes.
Titus.
Hottest take. I don't think the Nets are that good. And I think it's Durant. I think Durant is great. Durant is maybe the second or first best player in the league. The team around him
is
is
the second
not
best
good.
player in the league. It's
I thought we did
Curry.
lukewarm takes.
Yeah, you're right. We got to do the lukewarm takes, but this might be a steaming hot take.
Okay.
This is hot one, spicy hot.
A steamy pile.
A steamy pile of takes.
Oh my goodness.
The Nets, I don't, they're a team too, the same thing. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, man. I don't see them winning.
You look at their team because Blake's
right
been
now, right now.
Oh man,
Blake's been sus.
Not counting KD out. I don't like KD. I think he says he's not a role model the other day, which is like he's just kind of like in this PR nightmare. He's just not good at.
No, he's not he's one of the least likable guys in the league, but he's one of the best players. Yeah. But yes,
he knows how to win, man. Like I was just saying yesterday at the Mavericks game, you just look at KD. He's so unfair. It's so tough. And like when you watch DeMar DeRozan as a Bulls fan, it's so fun because he hits a step back mid range. KD does that, but he doesn't have to do the step back. He just shoots over the top because he's 7 feet freaking tall. It's so annoying. And
all right,
no, I'm not putting no.
Well, let me ask you a question.
I'll put him behind the Bucks. Okay, what's your question?
If these 4 teams were to make the second round, okay?
Yeah.
Who would you want the Bulls to match up with?
Oh, the Heat for sure.
Okay, so you want the Heat. See, I don't. 100%. I think the Heat could be a more of a problem than the Nets.
I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. We match up to the Heat on paper so well, and I was just looking at their roster. They have Bam Adebayo at center. Can you name their backup center?
No, I cannot.
It's Dwayne Dedmon. Like the man plays 15 minutes a game. Dwayne Dedmon's fine.
This is kind of my argument with the Heat. And this is that I think when it comes to the playoffs, rotations are going to tighten up. And so the advantage that the Bulls have is depth. It really is, versus the Heat. I don't think that's going to be as big an issue in the playoffs and in a 7-game series. I think they match up very well with the Heat. There's a couple of positions where I give the nod to the Heat. I think, would Jimmy Butler be the best player on both teams?
Against the Bulls? Yes, 100%.
So yeah, Jimmy Butler would be the best player in the series. So I think they had the best player in the series. Like Lowry versus Lonzo, it's kind of maybe a draw, but also I could see it easily saying that Lowry's the better player. I don't think that that's crazy. And then,
that's fine. Lonzo's, I don't know about Lonzo, man. Yeah.
Their bench player, they have Tyler Hero coming off the bench averaging 20 points a game. And I think they have a better 6-man than we have currently. And yeah, we have Caruso coming off the bench.
He's in COVID protocols, so that's what.
And he'll be traded shortly. But that's where I go. All right, I give those nods to them, and then the fact that they have been there before. The Bulls team haven't been there. The Nets, even though Durant's been there, the Nets as a team have not been there yet. And I think that says something to me. It means something to me, even though maybe it's a little crazy. I would be more scared of the Heat. I would rather see the Nets in a playoff series just because I feel confident against them as a Bulls fan.
My only thing is, I'm just gonna keep it simple. Is I'm more afraid of KD than I am of Jimmy Butler, and I don't want to go up against Kevin Durant in a 7-game series. I'd rather try to beat Jimmy Butler. DeMar DeRozan is not better than Jimmy Butler. He is playing out of control. He's having the best season of his career. I'm pretty sure he's like 33 years old. He's older than us. Me? I think you? I'm not sure.
No, if he's younger than me, he's 33.
I think he's
The old man.
Also, DeMar DeRozan's got a YouTube video or channel now, so subscribe to DeMar DeRozan's YouTube. If you're
When you're
listening.
there, subscribing to the Box Out Boys.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like,
You're in marketing, right,
I-
Chris?
what's that to do with it?
Go ahead.
My thing is, I understand what you're saying with the Heat. They kind of match up really well, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just Kevin Durant at the end of the day. Kevin Durant, James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, I have no rebuttal for that argument. Kevin Durant is the guy maybe you don't want to see, and yeah, could he drag a team to the final? Sure, I think he could. I see the Bulls as being very, very deep, and I think that they match up well against Brooklyn. They've beaten them twice. You know, like you always bring up the fact that they beat Miami when Derrick Rose was on the team and stuff, and then lost that.
I always bring that up.
You always bring that up, like, hey, I'm so scared of the,
No,
4-0
I don't
against
care. I don't care. I'm glad they did beat them. It's better than not beating them. It doesn't make me feel any better. It just doesn't make me feel worse.
Okay. And that's a fair argument. And I
Um,
felt like that take was going to be a
yeah.
little hot, but I think Milwaukee and Miami are going to be the two best teams coming out of the East
Wow.
when it's all
Yeah,
said and done.
okay.
And I think the Bulls and Nets could be there. Well, here's the other thing too. With the Nets, it really matters what happens with Kyrie, because if Kyrie comes back, then they go right back to the top. So
Yeah, it's game over if Kyrie.
it's game over if Kyrie comes back. If the Nets, as they are right now, that's what I mean. I don't. Harden just isn't playing great, and it's kind of right now. It's just Durant. If it stays that way, that's where I go. Hey, look, I just don't know if this team is all that good.
All right, my last thing on Brooklyn, I want to talk about Milwaukee for a second, is Brooklyn is looking this bad, but they're still top in the East. I said that last week, and like LaMarcus Aldridge is actually looking pretty good, considering he retired last year.
Yeah, it came back.
And he's coming back. He's a third leading scorer on this team. Patty Mills is great. Joe Harris is fine. Bruce Brown's giving them that defensive presence. This team's not finished. They're like the Lakers. They're not done yet. They'll be done in February. Let's talk. When we talk about them in a couple months, I think we'll have a better idea of what this team looks like.
Very true.
Your Heat. You are hot on the Heat.
Hot.
I'm shocked that you're less on the Bulls than the Heat. I was going to consider moving the Bulls down to the contenders, admittedly, and the Heat down, and just have the 4 title contenders. I still kind of want to lean that way, but I'm just going to keep it for now.
See that? That's fair, because that's the other thing. I really
Lakers up.
don't move the Lakers up, man. The Lakers aren't.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Fine, but yeah.
I don't think the Bulls currently, as constructed, we'll get into it here in a second, because we can. I think we're good here, about a half hour. We can maybe get into our trade talk here. I think as the Bulls are currently constructed, I do not think that they can win the title. I would not be shocked though if they made a finals run. That would definitely be something I think is in the realm of possibility. But right now I don't see them as a legitimate title winning team.
I can't imagine them winning the title right now. It'd be insane. But
yeah, it would be insane.
Watching that Knicks game the other night was amazing. That team was so resilient. They were up by a lot. They were up by like 15. And then the Knicks came back, took the lead back, and then they still fought back and won. That's a game that, it's just a fun game. All right, the thing with the Bucks, though, we didn't even talk about the Bucks.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about
the one stat I'll say about the Bucks is when they have all three, their big three playing in Middleton, Holiday, and Giannis, they're 11-0. The team hasn't lost with the big three playing, dude.
Yeah,
and
that's scary.
This team is good. Like,
yeah, that team is good. Like
DiVincenzo's coming back. My favorite name to say, and they're already third. They're already third in the East. Like,
yeah, people are sleeping on the Bucks,
dude. Giannis. Okay, it's Curry or Durant. It's Giannis.
Oh wow!
At the end of the season, we're gonna be talking about Giannis being the best player in the league. We forgot Giannis.
We forgot Giannis.
We forgot.
Durant is the third best player in the league.
Yeah,
currently.
Yes,
I think Steph is number 1 right now. Wow, man, Giannis, you can't.
It's gonna be Giannis in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's gonna be Giannis. I'm just
like,
And when it comes to playoff time, it's going to be Giannis.
And Bobby Portis is having the best year of his career. 40% 3-point shooter right now. 15 points a game. 9 points. The man's just earning that contract. He's going to get signed to the Kings for like $80 million. And, coming up, it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Great for Bobby.
Great for Bobby. Buy his brand too. He's got his own brand. It's Underdog. He's got some shirts.
Some shirts. Shout out.
Hat. Trucker hat.
If anybody needs some last minute Christmas gifts for Chris.
All right. Question in the pod. All right.
Yeah.
I can say the question. If you had to name a hot sauce after one player, what would it be? And speaking of heat, that's funny.
Yeah. Baskets be awesome.
Baskets.
All
Appreciate
right.
you coming back.
Name a hot sauce after one player. Ooh.
I got a hot sauce because we're just talking about the Bucks. It's the Giannis can't keep up with this tempo. Tempo. So there's a pun there. There's a pun in there.
I know where you're going. There's something there.
Can't keep up with this tempo.
Tempo sauce.
And then it's like, a million Scoville.
See, I would probably go with I just call it curry sauce. It's just the Steph Curry sauce. It's when it's hot, it's hot.
That's great.
It's just consistently hot. It's not too hot. It's not too spicy. It's just right.
Do you have a player-based product that you like?
That like a player actually makes?
Yeah, like TB12. Like Tom Brady's got his whole thing.
I'm not big on player stuff. I probably would try the coffee, Jimmy Butler's coffee, though.
Okay, so speaking of coffee, my favorite coffee is DK Metcalf, the wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. He's got a coffee called DK Metcalf's Decaf Coffee, and it was my favorite pun thing. So shout out to DK Metcalf and his Decaf Coffee.
So do you drink
shout outs tonight?
Decaf coffee.
He's got Decaf Coffee. You can buy the beans online.
I said, but you buy the beans.
Seattle. Shipping's a little expensive. No, I haven't. Try it yourself. I haven't tried it yet. I'm not yet a customer of this coffee. I haven't been paid. Hey, DK, if you want to sponsor the Box Out Boys, send some coffee beans. We'll do a review. YouTube review.
Send your beans to the show, and we will review them. Okay. Well, that unfortunate. All right.
I'm gonna. One real quick. I'm gonna share my screen.
Let's try this again.
Final tier rankings. I let's just see what happens real quick.
Chris might freeze. It's all right. I'll drive the bus. Uh-oh. Something's happening.
You know what? I'm just gonna cancel. That's not gonna work out. Let's move on.
All right, we're gonna move on. We will post our final rankings on our Instagram page, so check that out at the Box Out Boys on Instagram to see all that. All right, so do you want to do some Bulls talk? Or you want to just go to trade talk? I don't think I have.
Well, do you have anything on the Bulls? You wanted to make sure that's not going to be talked about during trade talk?
We can I guess we can quickly touch on the Bulls here. Just a quickly wrap up of the week. Even though they lost tonight, they got their ass handed to them by the Cavaliers. 3 big wins over the weekend over the Knicks, 119-115. Like Chris brought up, that they, had that game in hand, and then the Knicks crawled back and they managed to hang on to win that one. They beat the Nets 111-107. And then they beat the Nuggets 109-97. So a solid week for them. They were on a 4-game win streak before tonight. They were going for 5. That didn't happen. I know we were on the air for the second half of that game, so I'll have to go back and watch, see what happened. But any thoughts, Chris, just on the week in general for the Bulls?
So my main talking points are going to be from the Knicks game. That was the game that I really tuned into most closely, and I don't want to harp too much on the other games because I didn't watch them like Joey did. This is where we miss Joey, is this segment right here. All right. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast with my stat of the week, the Bulls don't have a bench. We have Derrick Jones Jr., Alex Caruso, who is amazing. It's a bunch of steals, but he doesn't score. Troy Brown Jr., who was guarding Mitchell Robinson early in that fourth quarter. And I was like, who's number 7? Why? Who's our center? That's number. It was Troy Brown Jr. on 7 foot tall Mitchell Robinson. It was an interesting offense. Our defensive structure, it worked out fine. Not really, but and then we have Io, who's everyone's favorite guy. And hey, we have
Io.
Io. Let's just trade Kobe now. We
Oh,
can
here
have
go.
both, guys. Hey, you know what's really cool about these talented players?
gonna let you
is that
do
we
this.
don't have to give one up for the other. We can just keep both. They're both
I'll
on
let you do this.
very favorable contracts for the next 2 or 3 seasons. Let's keep it rolling. But anyways, I digress. With the Knicks, DeRozan is the best player on this team. It's no
Yes.
question. I don't know if
King
it
of
was
the
this
fourth.
game that really confirmed it. It really confirmed it for me. I've never been high on DeRozan. You look at his box score, it's 12 of 19, no 3-point attempts, 10 of 11 from the free throw line. This guy just completely cooked the Knicks at a very mid-level, both figuratively and literally at the mid-range.
Mid-range.
Vucevic went 5 for 9 from 3-point range, all because Mitchell Robinson does not realize that centers can hit 3-pointers. The guy had 5 blocks in the game, Mitchell Robinson, but he didn't. He rolled, or he dropped back every pick and roll. He Vooch an open shot every single time, and fortunately, Vooch was able to hit 5 of those 9 shots. And then Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's fantastic. I don't want to take anything away from Zach LaVine's talent. His decision making to me is still questionable. There's a lot
at times.
There's a lot with Zach LaVine. Okay, he had a shot. The score was 99 to was it tied 99? 99 to 100. It was very close. The guy he's doing some dribbles in the left corner, not the left corner, the left hash or the left angle
side.
And he just does a step back, shot. It would have been a step back 3, but his foot's on the line, so it's a long 2. It's the worst shot you should take in an NBA basketball game, analytically, statistically speaking, anytime.
This is
and
true.
He's taking it because he doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't know how to really play with an offense. I've seen his pick and roll with Vucevic. It's subpar at best. This guy, I don't know, man. Like, LaVine's one of the most talented players in the league, but his decision making is sus.
He does do some things that bug me a little bit with the settling for jumpers, but I do think you were, even before we started, you pointed to the Knicks game as like a 1-game sample, a little bit more that he maybe didn't have his best game.
And thank you for saying that, Titus. I want to preface this like this is just an observation. I'm not
from that game
saying this is what he is. This is something I'm going to monitor over the course of the season because I'm like, hang on, what's going on here?
But I was thinking I watched him against the Nets and the Nuggets in particular, where they didn't have DeMar, and I feel like DeMar is kind of rubbing off on him a little bit, and he's getting to the basket a little better. He's not settling as much. He's trying to get the fouls. He's not getting the foul calls at the rate that DeMar is. DeMar is just like a freaking wizard. Well, everybody else can't get a call. He can get to the line like at will. But I think that he's learning when and how to pick his spots a lot better. He still does settle for those long range threes, step back threes at times when maybe it's not the best option. But I do see subtle improvements game to game, and I think he really is learning a lot from DeMar. And I like the two of them as a combo. They're two of the top 5 scorers in the league right now. So, other than just the occasional 3 that maybe isn't the best idea, I haven't been too upset with how Zach and DeMar have been playing. So,
but I just watching Zach this season reminds me of why I wasn't high on Zach back when Joey was kind of the lone wolf on it, and now we've all come around. Okay, Zach is very good. Yeah. It's because of shots like that, because he's just so much more talented than his decision making, and he's able to make up for it, I think, in that sense. Last guy I want to talk about, Lonzo Ball. He's averaging 1 block per game, which would be the first time a pure point guard has ever done that.
Oh, crap. That's
so
awesome.
Shout out to Lonzo. He's also the only player in the NBA this season with 100+ rebounds, 100+ assists, 40+ steals, and 20+ blocks. Shout out to the Lawn Boss for that stat line. Lonzo is exactly what we were hoping the Bulls would get.
Yeah,
he's the best 3rd/4th option. He's not a 2nd overall pick. He's not that good, but he's just filling the role that we wanted him to fill in so perfectly. And that's it with him. He missed a lot of in that Knicks
Threes
game,
against-
man. He was
he was all
not
threes.
last sideline threes. That like he was open for like 3 seconds. He was writing his memoir back there, and he still was just like, maybe I'll take it now. And then finally, a hand comes up to him. Then he shoots it up and misses. He went 2 for 10 in that game. I don't know.
I think the thing that I
but
like
yeah.
is in the Nets game when he was still missing some shots early in the game, but he had that like the kind of the game clinching three from off the pass of DeMar, and you can just tell that these guys still trust him. I do love that about it. He's still taking those shots. He's not scared to take those shots, which is what I love because I think he does need to be the release valve. And I think we can kind of transition here into our trade talk. I think we're going to come at it specifically from the Bulls' perspective because I think that the Bulls right now are currently a contender, but not quite a finals contender. I feel that they are a move away from a title contention. I think that they need another big, preferably a defensive-minded big, maybe somebody who can stretch the floor, get boards and blocks. Indiana Pacers are having a fire sale, apparently, according to some reports. And I would love to see Miles Turner end up on this team. Do you have any thoughts? I know. So in our group chat, we've been talking about trading Kobe White. Will Perdue brought it up in a post-game show on one of the Bulls after one of the Bulls games. I think it might have been the Nets game. And honestly, it was a little like unprompted there. He was just like, we should just trade Kobe White, which I felt was a little disrespectful to Kobe, a little bit. But I think that they are a move or two away from really being a contender. I am somebody who says when you have the opportunity, you should go all in. And I think this year is a very good opportunity. There's a lot of factors going on. What do you feel about the Bulls making a move? You kind of hinted earlier that you can keep all these guys, but what are your thoughts on that in general?
Yeah.
I hear it. Yeah.
So during our group discussion, we were talking about Domantas Sabonis. Joey brought up that trade. It was Pat Williams, Kobe White, Marko Simonovic, and the Portland pick. And it'll probably have to be like a few more picks for Domantas Sabonis, really. I just like, hey, let's just give up every prospect we have for this.
We don't really
great level guy. And I hate it. So that brings me to Miles Turner, the other option, who I like a little bit more. He averages three blocks a game. Second in the league. Yeah, he's second right now. Sometimes he's first. It flips every day.
I think he's first currently. At least the stats I saw today. A little low in rebounds. I think he's like 6 or 8 rebounds a game. But yeah, go ahead.
Yep. The problem with Miles, I want to watch him more. I follow Reddit a lot with the Pacers, especially right now, and people there just are like, you want to trade for him, but you just don't. So you don't watch him play. So it was like, like Vooch for Turner. Oh, you just don't watch Turner play. Like you don't want Turner that much. Like I'm concerned if he's like a Hassan Whiteside type, where he puts up a lot of stats, a lot of naked blocks, where he blocks but it goes out of bounds, or he blocks and it goes back to the team.
Yeah,
like a Dwight Howard block compared to a Tim Duncan block. And I don't mind Miles Turner, but like, did you have what the trade would be? So what it would be like Kobe White, Portland pick, and Simonovic?
I'm guessing it would be. I think any trade that I have seen is probably going to be Pat Will and Kobe, which I am fine with. Here we have a comment in the stream here, just real quickly. A Joseph Majakowski, I think his name is. He says trade Kobe. So he's one guy. Majakowski, one of the guys. He's on our side. So we have somebody on my side there. Definitely some random YouTube commenter. I don't think he has ever been affiliated with the show or anything like that. But no. So here's kind of my point. I do, in a sense, agree with you. Like is Pat Williams, a solid prospect? Yes. Is Kobe White a solid prospect? Maybe. I kind of have some stats, or not stats, but like some thoughts that maybe he's not as good as we think he is. And my thing is that, to me, I feel like the East is very wide open this year, aside from maybe the Bucks. But they've had injury issues, and you're an injury. The thing is, honestly, you're an injury away from winning the title any year, because look at what happened with like the Raptors. That's the ultimate like team going all in, trading DeMar DeRozan. You can maybe even argue that had they kept them, they could have won a year later or year two when the Bucks won. But they went out, traded for Kawhi Leonard, got their title. Now, I do not think that the Bulls will be trading for a Kawhi Leonard type player. I think that they have a solid rotation of guys, and I think, like what you're saying, the Pacers fans are saying you don't watch Miles Turner play, and I don't. To be honest, and I do need to start watching him play more to see what he's all about. But we're not asking him to come in and be a superhero. We're asking him to defend the rim, and the Bulls get eaten up on dive cuts and pick and roll a lot. Vooch is not the best defender, and in a 7-game series, he's going to get worked and he's going to get picked on. And having somebody that on the back line that can maybe be a rim deterrent, that can clean up something that is a mistake. Because Alonzo, Caruso, those guys are going to lock up the perimeter. They're going to be great defenders, but occasionally things are going to get by you. And I would love to see that versus having a secondary scorer off the bench, which is all Kobe is right now, and he's barely that. You know what I mean? If you're being honest. So go ahead.
I'm on the same side with you. No, I'm on the same side with you with that. The Bulls need this rim protector kind of presence. I don't know if Miles Turner needs to be the answer, especially we haven't even talked about his contract. I'm pretty sure I don't want to pull it up right now because anything I do makes me laggy. Miles Turner's the man's getting paid. I'm pretty sure this year he's making $18 million at least. And he's going to be a very expensive player to have. And so if you get Miles Turner, you're locked up. This is your 5. You got to win with these 5. Yeah, he's 25. He's fine. Yeah. It's just this is the 5 you got to win with, and we are a slightly worse, Phoenix Suns. I think at the end of the day with a Miles Turner contract like that as well. So
yeah, that's fair.
I don't know, man. Like I don't. If I'm all in for the all in trade. Like in theory, I always like the idea of it, but then like here's the player, and it's like, wait, Domantas Sabonis? No, Miles Turner? I don't know. It's like, can you give me Bam Adebayo? No, okay, then I don't want to do this. Can you give me AD? No, of course you can't. So there's the thing, there's not that many big guys.
Well, Kobe White and Patrick Williams are not getting you anybody that's really that good. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? The pieces you have, you're only going to be able to upgrade so much. And if you're telling me that our 5 is Lonzo, Zach, DeMar, Vooch, and Miles Turner with, Caruso coming off the bench, with Javante coming off the bench. Now I start to go, all right, with Ayo coming off the bench. Now I'm starting to see like, okay, now this team is a legitimate team that has every piece that you could ask for. Are they the best team in the league? No. But to me, that would maybe bump them from that contender thing to now, all right, I can realistically expect them to be contending for a finals trip within the next year or 2, maybe 3 years, depending on, like you said, depending on contracts and how everybody health shakes out. But
yeah,
I just don't think, Kobe White's going to be anything special.
Man. Kobe won us that game, that first game, the Knicks game, the first Knicks game.
Cool.
Pretty sure he got 3 threes in the fourth quarter. Cool. He's winning us games.
Okay, hold on.
What more do you want?
Hold on. Here's what I wanted to bring up. So I was very curious about Kobe White. I said, all right, well, how is he doing? So I looked up the year he was drafted. Okay. Here are some other players that were drafted the same year. Ja Morant. Obviously, he's a much better player than Kobe.
Second overall, yes.
Yeah, he was.
Kobe was drafted 7th for the listeners that don't know.
RJ Barrett was in that draft. Darius Garland was in that draft. Tyler Hero was in that draft. Jordan Poole was in that draft. There was even like Matisse Thybulle, who's getting minutes for the 76ers, or Kevin Porter Jr., who's getting minutes. He's not playing great, but he's getting minutes in Houston. I look at those guys and I think RJ Barrett, Garland, Hero, Poole. All those guys are, aside from RJ Barrett, all those guys are averaging 18, 20 points a game. I think at this point you would know if Kobe White's going to be good. And I think we know what Kobe White is. I think his highest potential is a off the bench, scorer who occasionally can get you a game. Now at that point I go, yeah, I'm willing to trade that. Versus to potentially to fill a need. And the need is a rim protector and a rebounder.
Okay, man, this is. This is rough. All right, so like you name guys like R.J. Barrett, Kevin Porter Jr. got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think he was an alcoholic, so you got to get cut by them. He's doing fine in Houston. I hope he's doing well. The guy's very talented, but he for a reason. Tyler Hero. You guys wanted to trade Tyler Hero last year for Kyle Lowry. You guys were out on Tyler.
Yeah,
Tyler
I would have done that too.
Tyler Hero was
I would have done that trade.
killing it now. And Miami is smart not to do the trade
because they ended up getting Tyler Hero. They ended up getting Tyler Hero in the offseason, and they knew that, which is why they didn't make that trade. And my thing is that
they paid a second round pick for it. But
and my thing is that it's really more about the landscape of the league this year. Like I look at the league and I just go, look, I don't know what Brooklyn's going to be. I don't know what the Sixers are going to be. Like you're saying that we're better than the Heat. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, there's only one or two teams that are really legitimately better than the Bulls are right now. And if you fill that need, if you get a guy that can be a body on Giannis, I'm not saying you're going to get a Giannis stopper. I'm not saying you're going to get an Embiid stopper, but you get a guy that can maybe deter a shot, a guy that can force him to give up the ball. It changes the series.
And I think you can get that kind of guy in a Jusuf Nurkic. With Portland, I would expect to be doing a fire sale of some kind.
Yeah. But the pieces, I mean, who else are you giving up? Who else are you giving up though? If it's not Kobe or Patrick Williams.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. Like, can we give up Marko Simonovic?
No,
and a future first for Jusuf Nurkic.
How many picks do we even have?
I don't know. They can't give up seconds, but I think they give up a first. Can they, or do they have to keep one of their picks?
I have to look in I don't know about the picks, but
that's the thing. Like they don't have that many picks to give up. Kobe and Pat's not going to give you enough. Jusuf Nurkic could be like a buyout. Like there's going to be buyout candidates.
And I'm not saying they have to do anything right now, but definitely before the deadline, you have to figure out what you're doing. And if Miles Turner becomes available, and like honestly, I would be in on Sabonis too. He's a great player. I would just go, hey, let's just figure it out. Let's just get Sabonis and see if it doesn't work.
I mean, it worked out with DeMar and Zach, right? So let's just double down. Yeah,
let's just double down because now every time your lineup now is Sabonis, Vooch, DeMar, Zach, and Lonzo. Are you kidding me?
Cooked by Giannis and AD. That there's no rim protecting in that team. Like,
we might score enough points that it might not matter.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I am always a just figure it out kind of guy, and I think you have this shot. All right, here we go. We got another comment in the stream. No way Portland gives up Nurkic. What is his name without Kobe involved? Yeah, Kobe is the guy. He's going to be in every team's trade request. It's 100% sure. Kobe is the guy that's going to get traded.
And I want to look at Nurkic a little bit more to see if it's worth it for Kobe. Man, it sucks because Kobe was hurt. Obviously, he got hurt last season or at the end in the off season. Now he's got COVID. Everyone's like, let's just trade this guy. We're winning games. Like this is the bench scorer that the Bulls need. Yes. Like I said, we're 29th in bench scoring, and we play a few minutes in off the bench. But you need some kind of offensive guy to come off the bench. We have nobody.
I think Ayo's developing into that role.
Ayo.
Ayo is developing into that role. Yes,
Ayo makes 1-3 and everybody loses their mind.
I'm not saying he's going crazy. I'm saying he's developing into that role.
Kobe can make 3 threes in a game and win them the game in the fourth quarter because that guy can just get hot.
Kobe's not going to be playing in the fourth quarter. Here's the other thing too. When my eye is on the playoffs. When we get to the playoffs, Kobe's not playing, dude. Kobe is not getting any minutes outside of late second quarter or late third quarter to get guys rest. So that's it.
I'm really curious how you're going to be. Are you going to be rooting for Kobe during the playoffs when you see him dropping threes in the second and the fourth quarters of these games?
If he's still on the team, I'm going to be like, yes,
this is going to be, it's going to be crazy.
I'm just saying, if
he's not going anywhere, he's on such a favorable contract.
He might not. I mean, like, that's the other thing too. You're bringing up a good point. Like, honestly, none of these trades are probably going to happen, which is fine. But I am not going to hold up a trade for Kobe White. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like if they say yes, I'm not going, you know what? I don't know, potential. I'm going to go, nope, that's good. And Pat Williams too. Same. That's fine.
Yeah, Pat Williams has been just such a bummer, man.
He's an undersized 4. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I after watching that Knicks game, Randall, Mitch, Obi Toppin, they were all just bullying them inside.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating to watch. So you need that big guy. That's why I like Nurkic so much. Even though on paper Nurkic doesn't seem as good.
Yeah, I don't think he's a great defender.
7 million still fine, Joey. Like, get off your high horse here. With Kobe, guys make so much money, but you don't even get it. And like, I don't,
Yeah, 7 million is nothing.
What do you mean 7 million is nothing?
7
Come
million.
on, Nurkic is getting like 15. We just said Turner's gonna get like 20 million next year.
No,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, Kobe for 7 million that's nothing. Who cares?
But,
all right, we're talking in circles here, so we can kind of
we're talking. Yeah, let's end the pod.
Let's end the pod before we fight.
I'm not trading Kobe White for
trade Kobe White
for Sabonis. I would for Turner. Nurkic, I want to look into a little bit more. Tune in. Or,
I think my list would be Turner number 1, Sabonis 2, and then Nurkic 3.
And Bagley. I wouldn't do at all because Bagley can shoot and score, but he can't. He's not like a defensive guy at all. Like I don't like it.
VOT, FYI.
I don't know what that is, but
all right. Well, thank you for the comment.
Great. Let's end on that note. Thanks, Emily White.
Thanks, Emily White. A fan of Kobe White. I'm assuming that's somebody a relative, or it was getting out on Twitter that we're roasting Kobe White. Well, that is it for us tonight. Join us next week to talk more NBA basketball and yell at each other about trading a so-so bench player. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube and Twitch at the Box Out Boys. Slide into those DMs. Join us live Wednesdays at 8:30, whenever we feel like getting on. Send us an email to theboxoutboys@gmail.com. Should we trade Kobe? Should we not? Send it to us. And as always, like, subscribe, wherever you listen to this at now. We'd very much appreciate that. So for Chris, Joey, and Adam, I'm Titus. Until next time, Box Out.